They call it spirits. But what spirits are we really summoning when we raise a glass? In nearly every ancient tradition, the body is seen as a temple, a sacred vessel, not just flesh and bone, but a living altar through which the divine breathes, speaks, and dreams. Yet we've normalized a substance that clouds this temple, that dims the flame at its altar. In the West, we don't see alcohol as a spiritual force. We see it as fun, social, harmless in moderation. We toast with it, bond over it, escape through it. But ancient mystics knew alcohol is not neutral. It alters the mind, weakens the will, opens doors, not just to celebration but to possession. In the Hermetic tradition, the mind is the altar, the will a sacred fire, and the body the holy temple that houses them both. So what happens when you poison the temple? What happens when the altar is desecrated and the fire dimmed? Across the ancient world, Egypt, India, Greece, the body was not seen as an obstacle to spirit, but as a channel for it. The yogis of India fasted and meditated not to escape the body, but to refine it, to turn the senses inward and awaken what they called kundalini, the latent divine energy coiled at the base of the spine. Egyptian priests avoided alcohol for similar reasons. They believed intoxication invited chaos into the order of the cosmos, Isfet over Ma'at. To the Gnostics, the body was a crucible, where the soul could be purified through gnosis and discipline. And in the Hermetic texts, the temple of the body was to be guarded, honored, and kept clear, so that divine intelligence could flow freely through the mind. But what happens when we pour alcohol into this sacred vessel? We blur the senses, we confuse the signals, we cloud the clarity that spiritual awakening demands. Alcohol is a psychic anesthetic. It numbs pain, but also numbs perception. It soothes, but also severs. It relaxes, but also disconnects. The body may feel light, but the soul becomes heavy. In Hermeticism, the mind is more than thought. It is the altar upon which we shape reality through attention, imagination, and will. When the mind is sharp, it becomes a mirror of the cosmos, able to reflect higher truths, receive subtle impressions, and direct energy with precision. But alcohol distorts this mirror. It blurs the lens of perception. It floods the temple with noise, so the voice of the higher self becomes harder to hear. The thoughts we think under the influence are not our thoughts. The impulses, the decisions, the judgments, they come from a compromised channel. And worse, when we repeatedly drink, we train the mind to associate freedom with escape, joy with avoidance, connection with intoxication. We abandon the altar and then wonder why life feels hollow. The will is the sacred fire of the soul. It is what drives transformation, initiates discipline, and carries us through suffering into wisdom. When alcohol enters the system, the fire dims. We feel looser, yes, less restrained, more open. But that openness is not freedom. It is vulnerability to suggestion, to manipulation, to possession. And this is not metaphorical. In many esoteric traditions, alcohol was said to open portals, to weaken the spiritual boundaries of the self, to make us susceptible to foreign energies, entities, or collective currents that do not have our highest good in mind. Some shamans even refer to alcohol as a false spirit, a being with its own agenda, seeking entry through our consent. So when the will is dimmed, what fills the void? Who is steering the ship? We live in a culture that rewards disconnection, where slowing down, going inward, and preserving sacred energy is seen as antisocial, boring, even extreme. But the path of the mystic has always been one of clarity, of intention, of sovereignty. And alcohol, though praised as a social lubricant, often becomes a spiritual leash, a ritual of forgetting rather than remembering. It numbs the pain, yes. But pain is often a message, a sacred fire trying to burn away the false. It lowers inhibition. But sometimes inhibition is wisdom in disguise, and it connects people, yes, but often in a way that bypasses the soul. What we call bonding may just be synchronized escape. The cost is not always obvious, but over time we may notice a weakened intuition, a dulled sense of purpose, a fog between us and our higher self. We may feel more social, yet more alone, more confident, yet less whole. This isn't about moral purity, it's about energetic clarity. To live awake is to live aware of the subtle, to feel how even small actions ripple through the soul. Some traditions permit wine in ritual, a symbol of sacrifice, transformation, or celebration. But even then it is taken with reverence, with awareness, with boundaries. The mystic path is not about abstaining from life, it's about aligning with it. So the real question is not, is alcohol good or bad? The question is, what does it do to your temple, your altar, your sacred fire? And is that a trade you're willing to make? You are a temple, a sacred flame, a living altar of divine intelligence. Protect your vessel, guard your flame, keep your altar clean. Because the world needs more souls who are fully here, awake, sovereign, and lit from within. Thank you for watching.